the people in these radical movements would say that what they're saying is logical, but they engage in logical fallacies constantly. And I think they utterly believe them. I can never tell. I deal with it with my colleagues too. I wonder, are you trying to be clever, but you know what you're saying isn't true, or are you truly engaging in a logical fallacy and don't know it? Whether it's a false comparison or whatever it is, I just don't know. And are we not teaching it, or are we deliberately looking past it? I'm not sure which one it is.
It's some of both. And then there's a third thing, which is when you have fear as such a potent ingredient of a movement, you have people saying things that they don't know are false, saying some things that they do know are false, but then they rationalize themselves into believing that they actually think it's true in order not to have to explain to themselves why they lied.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to feel like they lied because they were afraid. That's not a position people enjoy. So they will convince themselves that they spoke the truth, and that rationalization is among the more dangerous patterns we're seeing.
Yeah. Anyway, I was pushing on the hoarding of opportunity thing again, searching for some disagreement. We haven't really found it. I don't really disagree with your take on schools either. There's clearly sort of zones of opportunity that just build more opportunity. The question is, how do we? I'm not, as a conservative, I am not concerned about inequality. It doesn't bother me that somebody's bazillion times richer than me. It doesn't bother me that I get no money for my podcast and Joe Rogan gets $100 million a year. It doesn't bother me as long as I feel like I have a way that I can be rewarded for the talents that I do have. And, some people maybe don't feel that way. Some people maybe don't feel like they do have that path upward. Maybe it's through an apprenticeship or that first job or whatever it is. Maybe they don't even live in a safe community where they've got to stay alive, let alone figure out how to learn a skill. So I get that. I guess what I'm saying is my concern is how do you get out of poverty, not so much how you reduce inequality, but mostly because when I hear the left's priorities being injustice and inequality, and I think I'm being very fair to them because that's what they say all the time. I'm like, fine, but what's the measurement of inequality that you're going to be finally okay with? And you're like, okay, we got it, we solved it. Again, there's no standard, so I don't know. So I feel like it's a perpetual battle on purpose, so I think it's better to focus on the sources of success and how you make sure you provide those sources to these zones of our culture and our communities that just simply have less opportunity.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that either. But I actually think maybe, I hear you honorably searching for zones of disagreement. And I think there's a lesson in the difficulty in finding them, which is that at some level, we've actually reached a point at which all the people who are paying attention, who think carefully, all the smart kids are seeing the same picture. The crazy thing is that picture does not have political power. In other words, the irony of this moment is that we are about to tear apart a system that has all the underlying structure necessary to make it excellent, to solve all of the problems that the left claims it wants to solve without doing the harm that the right fears it would do. And yet, we can't get to the picture that we know is right, because at the moment we're having a mind-numbing battle between Democrats and Republicans, and between the street that insists that everything is racist from one end to the other and has to be leveled in order to build anything that could possibly work. Why is it that if you and I'm a radical, you're a conservative Republican, if we see the same picture, why is that picture not on everybody's mind?